What was your favorite part of the trip?
All of it.
All of it? Everything before the rain?
Yeah. Okay, so I think there were some beautiful...
So Rod, just maybe just give us a quick introduction on who you are and your background with the Nepisiguit Trail. And
my name is Rod O'Connell. I'm a retired forester, and I got interested into the Mi'gmaq Trail in 2004.
Yeah.
And since then, about 4 years ago, it really got off on a real, I would say almost a gallop, and we have done quite a bit in the past 4 years. And I'm getting a little older, so I'm hoping that a lot of young people will get involved with the trail in the next few years.
Persistence pays off.
That's right.
Yeah. And Jason?
I'm Jason Grant, and I was hired as the trail master just this past June. I started off as a volunteer, and I was involved back in the 90s, with some of the consultation with the trail and working with Pavanel First Nation. And so now I'm the trail master and working a lot with the administration part of the trail, managing of all of our licenses and social media, marketing, stuff like that, and working really closely with the province, Crown Lands, just to make sure that we're following all the rules and
especially now that it's a signature trail.
Now that it's a signature trail, we have to maintain a certain status.
And Samuel?
Samuel Daigle. I'm a early retired family physician.
Yeah.
Decided to quit my practice a little early to get prescribed vitamin in nature.
Yeah.
Just get more people out there, outside, unplugged. Just move, eat good food and stuff. So very involved with all that's non-motorized trails. Since 5 years with biking trails, and then when I met Rod, I was all excited to get this one going.
Yeah.
And just very involved, cutting the trail myself, and bringing people on the trail, and I hope to bring a lot more. Actually have an organized group hike tomorrow that I'm going to lead, so very excited about that.
It was in 1985, around those years, that they started to study the possibility of making the trail, and they researched for finding some history of the Mi'gmaq people on the trail before they started actually cutting the trail.
Yeah.
And they actually cut the trail all the way to Mount Carleton by the year 2000. They made a sort of a official opening for part of the trail in 1998.
Yeah.
But by a little over 2000, after 2000, they sort of gave it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, in 2004, I went to see Pavanel First Nation, Dr. Peter Paul, David Peter Paul, who had just become chief in 2004. And they hadn't really looked at it because they had just changed the council. Everybody was new, and I was looking for information because I wanted to walk the trail.
Yeah, yeah.
So in 2004, that's when we started to look at the trail and see if we could maintain the trail.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I met these guys, the young people, that they really took off. This was about 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, we met these guys, and then all of a sudden we had a lot of new people and all the Facebook stuff that we didn't have back in 2000. And it took off. I'm amazed actually how.
No, I am too. Because my father used to bring me up to Peacedale Bridge.
Okay.
And we used to know. Used to know about the trail. I used to see the trail signs and stuff.
Right. They had
I
big
think it
arches
was
there.
about 5 years ago. I took the 2 kids, and we went looking for I knew there was a trail there, and I like trails, so I went looking for them. We went down basically under the Peacedale Bridge, and it just kind of petered out, and there's no real trail there. So that's kind of. But right after that, I think it was the next year, I started hearing rumors about it being fixed up again. So it was good to see, and it's come a long ways in a short amount of time.
For me, it was 2004. It was a dream.
Yeah.
And I after 2008, they started to have this red tape with the government and trying to get a license of occupation.
Yeah.
Finally, I was getting frustrated. And then all of a sudden, we got involved with the younger people.
Yeah.
And they can keep on with the story now.
A bit more stubborn, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, for sure. I mean, we had lots of energy and we wanted to go ahead, but we needed the brains behind it. I knew nothing about this trail 4 years ago. Nothing.
Yeah.
Rod told me about the trail, and I thought it's just too good not to go ahead and try again. You know, like it's a lot of big unspoiled land, and by the river, the nicest river in the province, and just changes so much as you go up, you know, the trees, cedars and maple, and you know, like and I was all excited when Rod first talked to me about that. I said, let's
Yeah. So how long ago have you been involved for 5 years or so?
Well, 4 years. When
4
we
years.
met, I met Rod, started telling me about that. We got together, started negotiating where exactly we were taking off. Got together again with Pavineau and, you know, had their input on that. Started getting people through Facebook, social media, and we just started cutting the trail right away. We just said we're gonna start, and as we started, people got excited, got involved, and you know, actually cleaned up the spot. We picked up a lot of like improvised, dump here, and that got people really excited and took ownership of the project and see the good of it. And even people who were hesitant in it first, saying, like I don't like people going around my private property. When they decided we actually cleaned the place up, they just noticed it's a different kind of people, different kind of
different atmosphere,
clientele. We take care of this place.
So where are we now? We're probably 5 kilometers from Bathurst. What would this place be called? Like the rapids
actually
at the
we're
pump house,
center of Bathurst. That way, just maybe 3 kilometers actually. We're at Rough Waters.
Yeah, Rough Water.
Yeah. Near what they call the locals call the pump house, the old pump house.
Which is right down the trail.
The original trail actually started at Pavineau Falls.
Yeah, I remember they were going to build a bridge there. They started building a bridge.
That's right, and that's one of the downfalls really of the trail right from the start.
Yeah.
They made a parking spot, put arches up, and had an official opening on the other side of the river. Mm-hmm. But the trail started on the other side.
Yeah.
So therefore you walked about 300 meters, and then you had to cross the river.
Yeah.
So it didn't catch on simply because they couldn't get on the trail.
It's a rugged stretch of river.
And now, because we wanted to start from the shore of the Baie des Chaleurs and go all the way up to Mount Carleton, up to the Appalachian Trails.
Yeah.
Then we made the stretch and stayed on this side of the river.
Yeah, it's nice. It almost ties it more into Bathurst.
Exactly.
Tying it to Daly Point.
Tied at Daly Point, and also tied with the NB Trails.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one good thing about it.
Yeah. So Jason, what's your background on?
Well, I started way back in the 90s, believe it or not. I consulted with the original, when they actually started building the trail, I was one of the people that were consulting with DNR at the time. Mm-hmm. And we got involved heavily with the stories behind the whole trail, the lore, the folklore, with Gilbert Sewell and his daughter Phyllis Grant, who designed the turtle that we still use to this day. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I took the original drawing that she did and I created the what we see today as the actual logo. So,
and there's a story behind that?
There's a story behind that, and it's pretty interesting.
Maybe too big to go into.
Yeah, probably. But so we worked with Gilles Soucy and Alan Nish at the time with DNR, and it was pretty exciting. There was a lot of things going on. The cabins that are actually at Governor's Lodge were built in Pavineau as part of a cabin building project.
Yeah.
And they were initially going to be used as at the trailhead. They were going to build with those cabins, but the funding just kind of fell through, and the change of government and everything just kind of went.
Yeah, it was almost seemed like it was too big, too quick.
Well, I think it was just a change of government and not the same vision, and unfortunately, it just fell to the wayside. And then, luckily for everyone, Rod, was the catalyst that brought everything back together, and rebuilding that partnership with Papineau First Nation, and then eventually getting involved with Dr. Samuel Daigle. I came on board just last year as a volunteer, and then when the position for Trailmaster came available, I thought, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it to begin with, to be honest, but Samuel said, that would be a really good fit with you, with your background and everything, and I thought really hard about it, and I thought by doing this, by at least applying for the job, it would be my way of giving back to the community as well, with the knowledge that I have acquired over many, many years living in Papineau First Nation. So I lived there for 25 years. I learned a lot of the culture and the traditions, and also it was very exciting at the time to be a part of a very small part of that big project. I was actually employed with the fisheries at the time. I was the fisheries manager for the Papineau First Nation, but we were so intertwined, all the volunteers, and all the people that were involved, we were involved across different projects. So my brother-in-law at the time, Jean-Marc Roy, who lives in Ontario now, and I'm trying to get a hold of him because he would be ecstatic to see where we are today. And he's the one who actually flagged the trail back in the mid-90s. He was the pioneer, and we owe him a lot of credit because he did a lot of the hard work. And anyways, I'd love to get him back here just to walk a part of the trail.
Do the whole thing.
So we were really involved as a family back in the time, the Soul family and the Grants and the Roys. And so to me, to see where it is today, it's very exciting, and so it's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's not just a job, it's not just a thing to do on the weekends or even volunteering. It's a part of my life now.
It's probably a bit addicting almost.
It sure is, So I'm really, really proud. I'm proud for the Bathurst. I'm proud, the community. I'm proud for Papineau First Nation.
For the whole region, really.
For the whole region to come together and to create a successful project like this, and to see it through. And now the trail has been recommissioned. So we've opened the trail from trailhead to trailhead, Mount Carleton to Daly Point. And now it's going to be exciting. We're moving into our project phases of the trail, the infrastructure. And the possibilities are endless. So pretty excited about that too.
So some of the infrastructure that's on there now, there's 2 big teepees.
There's 2 teepees that are actually up now with platform camping sites. And we will be working with Parks NB, Josh Tompkins, over this winter to get, we have 5 campsites from the one at from Heathsteel down. We'll have 5 campsites done, and they'll be online by next season for reservations.
I saw something about the reservation,
so
but I wasn't sure what was
we're really going to work hard on that this winter to make sure that's in place with the Camus and Parks NB. So we're pretty excited to be partnering with them as well. It's just going to make things a lot easier, and we have to maintain a certain standard to remain a signature trail. So we're going to be working very hard to make sure that we remain within that status. Or keep that status. So
that's a good thing to mention. This is one of the pretty much two hiking signature trails in the province with the Fundy footpath. So. And it's really only the 3rd long distance hiking trail in the province.
It is,
Dodson Trail, Fundy footpath.
I think we are the longest. The Nepisiguit
definitely the longest.
Is the longest, and there's a lot of really interesting challenges on this trail. And we were talking yesterday about breaking the trail down into different zones, and that hasn't been done officially yet, but we're looking at that now to see, how we can break it down and categorize it for different levels of hiking, people, the experience that people have. So we're pretty excited about that too.
It's got good access from basically Heathsteel Bridges and access, Middle Landings and access. So it's got
Popple
it's cut up into
Depot,
pretty good sizes.
Yeah.
And the other access, actually, we have
They
20
are-
access,
yeah.
which are not all easy.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually river crossings.
Yeah.
But it's fairly well marked and
It is,
fairly
yeah.
easy to find.
Yeah, because it's 140 kilometers, I think, from Daly
145
Point.
kilometer, yeah.
And so that's 7-8 days. It's quite a hike if you're doing it
Well,
all in
actually,
one
what
stint.
we've seen the last weeks, people tend to underestimate. So
Yeah.
I would say more 5 to 15.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
what we've seen,
Yeah.
yes. From
Yeah.
what we've seen, some people hike 10 kilometers a day.
Yeah.
In many ways, I mean, for a long distance trail like this, and this remote, because it's pretty remote, your
Yeah.
cell phone doesn't
Definitely.
catch for 3/4 of the
Yeah,
trail.
that's
Yeah.
true.
It is fairly safe in the sense that you are following a river, and there's some access point every about 7 kilometers.
Yeah.
However, people have to realize it's a freshly cut trail. The sign's not perfect yet, so people need to really have a minimal of know-how,
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
compass, map, know how to use them.
Yeah.
Even a GPS is not a luxury to have.
Yeah.
If you're alone, maybe bring a spot or inReach and
spot device and stuff's
yeah.
always
Yeah.
good. Especially
No-
if you're outside, it's always up.
know how to make a fire if you're
Yeah.
cold.
If it's
These are-
raining.
These are the trail that you're out there,
Yeah.
on your own, and it's. But sure, we want people on the trail for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible trail. From one end to the other, it's just different, little waterfalls and,
That's right.
and valleys and meadows and beaver dams. Get over beaver dams.
Yeah. And the river itself.
Oh, yeah.
Following along
Yeah.
the river most of the way, and it's a beautiful river. All the
And
way.
we have to remember, this is actually an ancient trail.
Yeah.
The trail's thousands of years
Yeah.
old, and it played an integral part on the survival and the everyday life of the Mi'gmaq people here. There's still traces of the ancient trail. I actually took pictures of it on my hike.
Oh, yeah?
And it's some places I got all excited and I realized it was ruts. Truck, moose path, or an old truck logging road.
Yeah.
One was a rut, and I'm like, no, that's not the ancient trail. But there was one spot near Indian Falls where I found the actual ancient trail, and I remember Gilbert Sewell talking to me about the old caribou paths up high in the mountains. You
Yeah.
can still see them; they're visible.
Yes.
Caribou haven't been around for 100 years,
Yeah.
but there were so many at one time, and their migration paths could still be seen to this day. They're worn down into the rock, into the stone. But I did find one section where it was the actual ancient trail, and it was pretty exciting. It was
Yeah.
a hair-raising moment for me.
Oh, I can imagine.
But so they used it to migrate. So they were, they migrated with
Yeah.
the seasons. They would fish in the summer and then hunt moose in the winter. So they would, nomadic. They were
yeah.
nomadic.
Because the
people.
headwaters of the Nepisiguit is at Mount Carleton Park, which is the
Yeah.
headwaters of the Tobique, I think, and
Yeah. Well, there's the
so
provincial
there's the kind
divide
of
there.
split
There's the
stuff,
divide, yeah.
divides the province.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting when you think about all that. It's a very unique and special trail when you think about the historic value or the stories behind the trail, and
And the logo that you're going to tell me some other time.
yeah, I'll tell you about that some other time. But
Added the section from Pabno to the Baie Chaleur because
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
have gone way
That's
up
right.
to
Yeah.
They did.
down to the Baie
They did.
Chaleur
Oh,
for fishing in the
Yeah.
summertime.
now a lot of people
And
say,
gathering.
well, the natives used to canoe back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. But not everything was brought by canoe. They
Yeah.
also had to walk the path.
Oh, yeah.
They carried their gear, everything, whatever didn't fit in the canoe went along the trail. So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting. And they picked berries along the way and gathered. They were hunter-gatherers. So
Yeah.
they gathered along the trail. A moose hunt could last weeks, where
Yeah.
the men would actually kill the moose, and they would come back to camp, and the women would go back and find it
Yeah.
and haul it back. And it was quite an endeavor. You can't just hop in the car
Oh,
and go
yeah.
to Sobeys like we do now.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for the historical part of this trail.
Yeah.
There's another part also, the canoeing part. We have trails, portage trails actually that connect to different water
Yes.
systems.
Yeah.
Like if you come up here and hit the Gordon Meadow Brook,
Yeah.
it actually goes across to the Northwest Miramichi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a portage trail between Meadowbrook and Portage River.
And that's something that's been going on the last few years.
And Tim Jones has been working on this here, and it's actually been maintained right now.
Yeah.
You go further up, and we have at Portage Brook, not Portage River, but at Portage Brook, you have another portage that it's also maintained, and it goes to the Upsquitch Lake, which hooks up to the Upsquitch River, the southeast, which eventually hits into the Restigouche. So, and then you have the right at Mount Carleton. Of course, you have that 3-mile portage that hooks up Netpa with the Bathurst Lakes. So therefore, you have 3 different water systems that actually drain in the province. So you can actually travel through the province by using the Nepisiguit.
And that's what they did. And even like the early settlers, the prospectors, and the loggers, they use these trails and portages as well. We have to remember that. And you know, kind of
the highway.
I have an old video on YouTube it's something Josh gave me actually.
Okay.
Tourism, and it's 1936 at Mount Carleton before roads got put through, and they were using horses to basically pull up the small boat to bring their supplies up to the camps at Mount Carleton. There's another trail that should be built on the other side that connects the St. John River to the, because I read that there was an old portage trail there, or a walking trail. The guides used to come so far and they would have to walk over, and I don't know where it is.
Emery's Gulch.
No, that's below.
Northwest.
Emery's Gulch. That's a good one to mention, though. That was a very important portage at one time. But I mean, it's just what we're talking about is the possibilities. Like the Nepisiguit Trail is an entity or a trail within itself. But it connects to everything. You know, like we have to realize that with the portages and other trails that have been lost into obscurity, but now we're doing the research to find it. We have the potential here to eventually connect with the Appalachian Trail, you know, with Quebec and over to Gaspé from here. So we'd be another section or a challenge for, you know, the hardcore hikers or the extreme hikers to come and visit us on our little end of the trail here, which would be pretty exciting. And I think that's what the mandate will be. Once our trail infrastructure is done, we're going to start looking beyond. But our objective is the Mi'gmaq Trail for now.
In that sense, Mount Carleton could be the hub, you know, like
exactly.
Connecting to the
that's a really good point. Mount Carleton could be the hub for northern of the province.
By hooking up to the Appalachian, it makes the trail a little longer, about 150 kilometers. By going up to the head of Mount Carleton, which hits the Appalachian trails. And actually, it would rank probably in this area one of the longest trails around. Actually, I was looking the other day that the 35 longest trails in Canada. And actually, at 150, we would rank 16. Off the 35 across Canada. So
that's interesting.
An interesting trail to promote.
It's interesting. We don't have enough long trails by any stretch. New Brunswick or in Canada, even so.
That would be very.
And especially with very, very, you know, sharing a road connection. It's a single track hiking trail, you know, almost all the way, which is pretty neat.
And you're outside of civilization. It's completely
only unspoiled, no 4-wheelers, no trucks.
That's right. We went 2 days without seeing another person. You know, and I was joking, I said to Alfred, I said, an airplane was flying overhead. I said, we're nearing civilization. Which is kind of silly because a plane could be in the middle of the ocean, right? But they just kind of laughed, you know. But it was really I had a time to just reconnect with nature. Even within those few days, like without seeing another vehicle.
It takes a while to get your head in that space.
And I was really amazed how fast your body will adjust, your mind. Because I was becoming in tune with the birds and stuff, you know. I know that sounds like a real tree hugger or whatever, but the reality is the mindfulness that you gain by being on the trail. And when you're hiking a long distance in a day, like you get into a rhythm. And your body gets into a rhythm, and you get in sync with nature. And I think that's what I loved the most about hiking the trail last week.
Yeah, I just got done reading a book that's about all the scientific studies about the mental benefits of hiking and stuff, and it's just endless stuff going on.
Yeah.
To find that out, and it's all good. So
It is good. It's positive.
Call it the 3-day effect. When you're out there in nature for 3 days,
Yeah.
your brain kind of gets tuned like a musical instrument, like a guitar or piano.
Yeah.
Gets tuned to nature, and since we evolved in nature for so long, that's where we perform better. And that 3-day effect proved that our thought process are actually 50% better.
Yeah.
And not 5%, you're 50% better.
Yeah.
3 days just sitting doing that in nature.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
pretty
the walking, I think, is
The rhythm.
It's almost like
the
meditation.
rhythm.
But
Yeah, I really just like when you're a baby, like when we were all infants and we were being rocked, you know, that does something to the neurology of the human. You know, we depend on that, and I think that walking was kind of like, I don't want to compare it to being rocked as a baby, but I don't know, it was just kind of very comforting, like that motion or that rhythm of continuous walking. Just being in sync and in tune with nature.
And you don't get that. You don't get that on a one-day hike.
No.
It takes a couple days.
Because we were 5 days on the trail, 4 nights, and I was pretty happy and pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And the hard part for me on the first day was, part of my job is social media. So I'm online steady, you know, I'm always updating Instagram and on Facebook and stuff, and there was a little bit of withdrawal in that first day.
Yeah.
But you know, by the third day, not having to read emails every 10 minutes, it felt really good.
Not that constant distraction. Yeah.
No, it was really, I felt at peace with myself for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And I would really like to promote that to other people who are thinking about just escaping for a few days, like, you know, on one of the zones or sections or a few sections hike, or even a through hike, you know, like to really connect with nature and disconnect from all of our technology, and, you know, just get that feeling, even if it's for a week or 15 days, you know, it's really worth it. It's like I felt grounded when I came back.
Yeah.
I was refreshed.
Yeah. So you just got back from a 5-day hike?
Yeah, it was 5 days. We had planned 7, but my butt, it was my mistake. I should have put on my rain gear, which I had. Yeah. So you have to...
Gaiters.
Yeah, I'm going to buy gaiters, Gore-Tex gaiters, but you can have the right equipment, but you have to also be in tune and when to use that equipment.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it was my mistake, and I got soaking wet. I had like quick drying hiking pants, but the water, it was raining so hard, it wicked down.
It's always raining, they don't dry.
Oh no. Well, the water wicked down the pants into my hiking boots. Solomon, you know, they're waterproof hiking boots, but wicked right down to my toes, and once my feet were wet, that was it. It was
and if
game
you have
over.
waterproof boots, it holds the water.
It held it very well. So we actually got out at section J. We had a spot because there was no cell service. We used the spot to get Samuel to come pick us up, and but in the meantime, we changed out our clothes. Janine and I both changed because we were getting wet, and her feet were dry though. And it was pouring rain, and she didn't think I could get a fire going, but I got a good fire going, and that we just waited. So it was really even that was a challenge. It was fun, you know. But you have to be careful as well. Like you know, we've taken wilderness CPR, different courses, so we are trained to be out in the bush. Yeah. But you have to trust your training as well, and not be stubborn. And know when to use it on yourself, let alone somebody else.
That's usually the hardest part.
Yeah, so I made the error. Otherwise, we would have finished the 7 days. Yeah. So our goal was middle landing. Yeah. And if we got there and we felt good, we were going to keep going to Daly Point. So,
yeah. So what was your favorite part of the trip?
All of it.
All of it? Everything before the rain?
Yeah. Okay, so I think there were some beautiful vistas like along... I'm going to call it the valley region or zone. Yeah. Like you come out of the mountain zone. I'm calling it that. Like it hasn't been officially called that. Yeah. So there's the mountain zone, the river valley zone, and the delta, which we're in now, the delta. But when you're coming out of the mountain zone and you see these valleys and mountain is gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and you get into a Silver Brook area. I was talking to Rod. We saw pictures of the profile of the mountains from 120 years ago, and you look at them today, they're exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
It just really shows you how small we are. You know,
Yeah.
our time, you know,
yeah.
is so short. Our lives are so short.
Oh yeah.
But the landscape stays the same. And so I think my favorite part would be like Silver Brook to Pentland Brook. Beautiful, beautiful area to hike. We saw lots of wildlife.
Yeah.
And, but I love all of the trail because it's so diverse and it changes.
Yeah.
So you don't get bored, like, oh, the same old trees.
Yeah,
It
it's
always
monotony,
changes. Yeah.
The river changes.
The
tree
river changes.
Like the difficulties. You have section that's up and down,
Yeah.
up and down, flatter section, meadows. It's
Beautiful. My least favorite, anywhere where there's wet ferns. Because
it should get better over time.
yeah, the wet ferns, they really they love to attach to you.
They don't let you quick dry pants.
No. So I was pretty soaked just walking the
And it's the
ferns.
time of year where there's a lot of dew and there's a lot of moisture. So.
But beautiful. We saw deer and partridge everywhere, like rough grouse everywhere. And
Yeah.
we saw some spruce partridge, and there's some pretty cool things along the trail that's been left, you know, over time in memorial by loggers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to develop like a trail trivia for hikers, just to, you know, have you seen this? You know, spot this, and maybe make a little checklist.
That's good, because a lot of times you have around trails like that, you see like old, like in Mount Carleton, there's old pieces of leathers and stuff.
The
kind of trying to figure out what they are, but you can't really figure out what they are.
Yeah. Mount Carleton, that was on the portage. You'll see parts of an old Model T or a Model A. They actually they had built a buggy to help them portage their canoes. So that was a buggy, and they just left it there, you know, because it's part of history. But we found some pretty cool stuff along the trail too. One thing that's like a modern historical, it looked like a hard hat that was used in a fire at one time. Forest fighting, maybe 20, 30 years ago. But we left it there because, hey, have you seen the hard hat, you know? So we want people to look for these things, and I'm going to put it all together and try to put that up on our website, and just cool things to see along the way. There's an old, there's a couple wood stoves, you know, cast iron stoves that are still there. They'll probably be there for another 100 years. And the chimney, I still haven't found it. There's an old fireplace from the below heat steel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not too far, actually.
Yeah, I
from the
know.
heat steel bridge,
So the
actually.
cabin is long gone, but the fireplace is perfectly standing there, and it's a really neat feature. People to stop and take pictures of these things. You know? And also,
sometimes you even know they're there. Like Chimney, you said you never found it, and you probably walked right by.
Yeah, I probably walked right by
It's
it.
the same as Funny Footpath. I was talking to a guy. There's an old, I don't know what it is, some kind of kiln or something.
Okay,
And
neat.
I was within probably 10 feet of it,
Yeah.
the way he explained it, but I never knew it was there.
Yeah.
Like
So those are neat little features, you know.
they're really cool.
And,
You didn't see the chimney?
No, I didn't. I was
I
was behind Janine. I was watching her heels there. We were in that rhythm.
You're hallucinating about pizza.
Yeah. By that time, I was daydreaming about pizza and Rickard's Red, ice cold, like Alfred. Alfred said he wants a Rickard's Red, but it was fun. So there's a lot of cool things. We have a lot of really neat things planned for the future. We're hoping to get lots of funding from you know, non or private sector or government to help us, you know, build the infrastructure. Everyone's been great with us so far, and we hope that trend continues, so we can really we have a product here that is really it's really special for not just the Chaleur region, it's for the whole Maritimes. It's a gem. It really is a gem. I think we all should be proud of it, and you know, there's the north and the south of the province, but we look at the Fundy Footpath and the Dobson and all the other trails as our partners. You know, we're New Brunswickers, and we support them, and we hope they reciprocate that, and we invite everybody down there to come on up and check this out.
There's a lot of people looking for longer trails, and there's not much to choose from, really.
No.
Not enough by any stretch.
it's interesting. People come in New Brunswick, they try the footpad, they try the Mi'gmaq Trail, and you know.
It's different country.
It is.
It's different.
It's great
Different
for our
experience,
region.
yeah.
It's great for tourism, you know, and there's just so many good things about it, like health-wise, tourism. So it's like a win-win. Everybody wins, you know. And you know.
So the group, you guys have a group that's, is it the Nepisiguit Mi'gmaq Trail group?
Santee Nepisiguit Mi'gmaq Trail group on Facebook. We have a nice
The
website.
website's new and it's nice.
www.mi'gmaqtrail.ca. It's a work in progress, but the maps are in there, a description, how to get there,
I've been
what
reading all the
can you
descriptions
expect
of the trails,
on each section, difficulty level. Again, there's some tweaking to do on that, but pretty good.
It's pretty good.
And the thing we talking about infrastructures, easier river crossing, and not river crossing, but the stream crossing, river branches. So we're working on that right now. Some road bridge and different kinds to make it interesting. There's a few like just a log and a handrail. But some will be so that's something we're working on right now.
So like we do need like maybe boardwalks in certain places or bridges like Samuel mentioned or stairs.
And,
but we don't want to make it too easy either.
And you don't.
You know, like we want some challenges.
I've seen in the past is people will put a bunch of infrastructure into the trail and then the funding will kind of, they think it's going to be in its 10, 15 years. It's gone.
So, I mean, those are things to think about. And we did some of the water crossings with no problem. And I'm sure it'll change with different times of the year. But if you make it too easy, like there's not much of a challenge other than you're walking 140 kilometers. So it was kind of nice to get down in there. Like we were walking through moss-covered rocks, like glacial float, like was deposited, and that's covered with moss. You know, it's beautiful to walk through there. You have to be careful. I mean, you have to use your due diligence, right, and take your time and watch your steps. There's challenges. So, but if we build too much infrastructure, it'll be too easy. You know, like
and you got to maintain it too.
And then the maintenance bill.
So Rod, you're the president of the group now?
Yes, we're sort of a council-like, and then we meet about once a month, and we discuss what our priorities are. Lately it was finish the trail, cut the trail.
That was a big drive.
And it was a big drive, but it almost went beyond our expectation because as soon as we announced the trail is cut, geez, everybody wanted to get on the trail, but we haven't got all the signage.
I get questions about it quite often.
Done. So, but we're working on it. Now, now it's
kind of a good problem to have.
That's a good problem.
But now the signage and we want to GPS the trail again and make sure that we have, over the winter time, we'll be working on a good waterproof type map, like the canoeing map, to involve the canoeing and also the trail.
That's something that's nice for the
hope to have
the
that
nice
by the
waterproof
spring. That's
map
right.
of the trail. And that's
So we include the trail and the portages.
To team up our effort with Canoe Kayak New Brunswick would be really nice. You have a canoeing map and a hiking map. It's the same river, the same path. So it'd be combining our effort would just make sense there.
And with Tim Humes with the portage trails, and
he's pretty
we
keen
want to
on the
involve
portage
everybody.
And the education part, you have Nepisiguit Adventures. Talk a bit about that.
Well, I started a guiding company, so do kayak tours, canoe tours, and hiking tours, and I would, love to get people on the trail, even if it's just, shuttling service. Make sure that people are prepared, giving workshops, because as much as we want a lot of people on the trail, I want people experiencing it. I want just to make sure I have a good experience, because if people don't have a good experience, they won't come back. So it's really important that, and just to take those extra steps to start slow, try for a day, maybe an overnight, and so if I can be there to facilitate that, it's all good. That's what
I don't think I lost the group.
I was going to say that.
I saw one a while ago.
They go back to the car, probably.
Did they come back up?